Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the John Campea podcast here on this delightful Thursday morning. Doing the show live today because I was running a little bit behind. I was afraid if I didn't do it live, I wouldn't get the show up till afternoon, and I didn't want to make you guys wait until the afternoon. So here we are doing it live again. I like doing these live every once in a while. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to pre-recording it, because then I can make sure I get everything right, and it looks better than this when I pre-record it. But every once in a while, it's fun to do it live. Saying hi to all you guys in the chat board. How you doing there, guys? And wow, what 48 hours it has been in the world of Warner Brothers and DC films, huh? So first we get, look, I know a lot of people are poo-pooing the idea, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to stand by this. I think this reported Martin Scorsese produced Joker movie, standalone Joker movie outside the DCEU. I love the idea. Now, you guys have probably heard me say that. I love the idea. I love the idea of taking the handcuffs off filmmakers. Saying, oh, if you're going to tell a story, and make sure it ties in 100% with the DCEU. And now you're just completely limited as to the stories you can tell. And I love the idea of them once in a while, take the handcuffs off, breathe a little, expand your horizons a bit, tell some creative stories without worrying about making it consistent with the DCEU. While you've got your cinematic universe going, let's tell some original stories that don't have to connect to the DCEU. And I love that Warner Brothers is doing that. So there was that. And a lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, and that's fine. But then, what happens is things get more wonky when Matt Reeves makes that comment about, they said, Warner Brothers and I said, it's the Batman movies, standalone, not a part of the extended universe. Not a part of the DC extended universe, also known as the DCEU. Which has got a lot of, it's like, wait a minute, Joker movie not part of the DCEU, a Batman movie not part of the DCEU, and then last night, they announced a Joker and Harley Quinn movie, which was not a part of their slate at Comic-Con just a couple of months ago. Now, all of a sudden, there's a Joker and Harley Quinn movie, and I like the idea of a Joker and Harley Quinn movie. I mentioned in a video last night that a couple of weeks ago, I was actually thinking about putting a video together, calling it Why Warner Brothers Should Make a Joker and Harley Quinn Movie. I was seriously, I have it on my list. Like, I've got a list of videos I want to make, and that's on my list. And then all of a sudden, they announced that they were doing it. So I'm happy about that, but dear heavens, I mean, things look chaotic at Warner Brothers right now. And now all of a sudden, where's Suicide Squad 2? Where's this supposed Gotham City Sirens movie that was not present or mentioned at Comic-Con? Where's that now all of a sudden? Because that was supposed to be a Harley Quinn vehicle, Gotham City Sirens, with some other characters. And now there's a Joker and Harley Quinn movie. So where's that now? So they've announced 50 movies that have now been canceled. They're announcing new movies by the day, it feels like. And while I'm excited about a couple of them, that Joker movie produced by Martin Scorsese sounds awesome. I like the idea of a Joker and Harley Quinn movie. I think that could be really special because I'm in the minority. I like Jared Leto's Joker. Shoot me if you want. I don't care. I like Jared Leto's Joker. And I love that relationship that him and Harley Quinn, that toxic, codependent relationship. I loved it. I thought it was great on screen. But you would be forgiven if you thought, gosh, things look kind of messy over there at Warner Brothers right now. Is it time to pull out my fabled panic button and start hitting the panic button? I don't know. Look, I think in the last couple of months, Warner Brothers has done some really good things. And they put out a killer Justice League trailer. I love that trailer. They made some changes in leadership, and they seem to have a renewed focus, and things look good. And then in the last 40 hours, it just feels like things are coming off the rails. So anyway, listen, guys, I got a bunch of questions here that I've picked out. You can look into the description of this video. You can see the questions I picked out. But then I'm going to save some time to go to your live questions for those of you who are watching live, because I don't often get a chance to bring out the live stuff. So I'm going to go, once we get through these 6 questions, I'm going to go to the live chat and take questions from you guys there. So don't start throwing in your questions right yet. Let's get through 4 or 5 of these questions first. Okay, so let's get to topic number 1 today. And topic number 1 today comes to us from one of my Patreon supporters, Brian Misfid. And by the way, guys, give me a second here to plug the Patreon. So a lot of you guys know I've started a Patreon, and that's just a place where people, for those of you who like to watch my videos and you watch my like 70 to 90 to 100 videos that I do every single month, if you want to actually help contribute, then you can go to my Patreon page. It's at patreon.com/John Campea. You can see it right there. And one of the advantages of the Patreon page is that there's an audio feed on the Patreon page that I no longer put on iTunes. It's only for my Patreon supporters. So there's a pure audio feed of the John Campea podcast and of my new show, Star Wars Talk Tuesdays, is also on there. Plus some other benefits. You can find out information there. Anyway, enough with the plugging. Let's get back to the question. Okay, so anyway, Brian Mifsud writes, we have a standalone Joker and Matt Reeves' standalone Batman trilogy. Is this the new reverse trend, moving away from shared connected universes? This all sounds confusing because only a little information is known. So far, the DCEU has Wonder Woman that has been successful, and Justice League is doubtful at best. Is the DCEU vision at risk with a shift to standalone movies being the norm moving forward? All right, thanks a lot for the question, Brian. First of all, I would hesitate to say that only Wonder Woman has been successful. Now, was Batman vs. Superman divisive? Yes. Did a lot of people not like it? Yes. But it made a lot of money. It didn't crack the $1 billion mark like everybody thought it would, but it made a lot of money. So, was it critically successful? No. Did all the fans around the world love it? No. But was it not successful? Because it made a lot of money. I would say Justice League was successful. I would say. So was Suicide Squad financially. Made a lot of money. So let's be careful how we use the word successful. But the big issue here is, are we seeing a reverse trend? Are we seeing a reverse trend? Are we seeing, like with Batman being standalone, with Joker being standalone, who knows how many other of those announced DC movies might be standalone? Like, was Batgirl that was announced, is that meant to be a standalone movie? Was Nightwing, is that going to be a standalone movie? Like, we just don't know. I don't know. So we're just speculating here at this point. And it's fun to speculate. Is the trend moving away from the DCEU to standalone films? In other words, is Warner Brothers abandoning the DCEU? It's a fair question because, like I said, in the last 48 hours, like all this news has popped up that's very confusing. So it's a fair question to ask. Is DC abandoning or is Warner Brothers abandoning the DCEU? I think the answer to that is no. I think Warner Brothers is trying to, whether it's a good idea or bad idea, whether it'll work or not work, what I think Warner Brothers is trying to do is add to the DCEU by giving us content that's outside of the DCEU. But it doesn't necessarily, just because they're adding more stuff around the DCEU, doesn't mean they're abandoning the DCEU. Because look, as soon as they announce, or not, they didn't announce it, but as soon as it got reported that Martin Scorsese and Todd Phillips are working on that Joker movie, also comes word that they're going to do another Joker, a DCEU Joker movie with Harley Quinn, and that it's going to come after Suicide Squad 2. So clearly they still have plans for Suicide Squad 2. They're still making movies for the DCEU and planning new movies for the DCEU, like with the Joker and Harley Quinn. So I think it's pretty clear, like to me anyway, that DC has not abandoned the DCEU in favor of standalone films. They're going to create standalone films as additions. Look, DC Comics doesn't abandon their comic universe when they put out an Elseworlds issue. Like they didn't abandon Batman, the Batman storylines when they brought out The Dark Knight Returns. No, The Dark Knight Returns came out as a separate standalone story that complements the ongoing DC Comics storylines. Or whether you're talking Red Sun, or whether you're talking Old Man Logan, or whether you're talking a lot of comics that come out as one-shot stories, do not replace the existing storylines they have in comics. They're just there to complement them and to be extra stories, that just stand outside of it. And I think, look, I applaud Warner Brothers for trying something like this. I applaud them. Does it look like things are a mess? Yeah. Do they look disorganized? Yes, they look disorganized. Does it look like it's a train wreck? A little bit, but I applaud that Warner Brothers is showing some guts and some initiative and some balls and some innovation to try doing this. I think it's cool, and it might work and it might fail. Okay. But you'll never do anything great unless you try something different. And Warner Brothers is trying something different. And while it looks like a chaotic mess, yes, I agree. I do agree. It probably looks like they could have planned it out better. But I think we need to give credit where credit's due. I think Warner Brothers is trying something ballsy. And let's sit back just for a breath and see how it all pans out. I'm sure, I'm looking at the chat board. You guys have tons of opinions about this. So anyway, let's just see how it all pans out. Let's just wait to see how all these reports pan out. And let's see what Warner Brothers' official plan is and how this is all going to play out. And then we'll go from there. All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question also comes to us from one of my Patreon supporters. Sabaji, I am not even going to try to pronounce your last name. Forgive me, but Sabaji writes to me. My question is about the Matt Reeves Batman movie/movies. Do you think that he meant that Batman will be pre-Man of Steel era when he said that it'll be outside of the DCEU? Like how Wonder Woman, while being a part of the DCU, was also on its own movie. Reeves' Batman could very well be its own movie by that analogy and yet be a part of the extended universe. All right, thanks a lot for the question, Sabaji. Look, I kind of said the same thing on my video. It's like, look, Matt Reeves, the specific words Matt Reeves said were, it's not a part of the extended universe. Those are the words. It is not a part of the extended universe. So that's what the face value is. And nothing has come out to contradict that. Actually, last night, the Hollywood Reporter put out another story that kind of confirmed that the Batman movies will be outside of the DCEU. So that's the flat words. But what I said myself in the video was, let's at least keep the possibility in the back of our heads that Matt Reeves said that, but maybe he meant something else. Now, it's dangerous to assume that somebody meant something other than what they said, but we should at least keep the possibility that Matt Reeves meant something other than what he very specifically said. It's hard to do that because Reeves specifically said it's not a part of the extended universe. Wonder Woman is a part of the extended universe. I mean, that's timeline-wise, it sat outside of it. But the Wonder Woman is clearly a part of the extended universe. It's part of the DCEU. That movie is clearly, the movie starts with a message from Batman, and the movie ends with a message from Batman. I mean, it's all tied in. It's part of the DCEU. But is it possible that Matt Reeves meant something other than what he said? I think we can't assume that he did, but I think we should at least keep the possibility filed away in the back of our head that maybe he did. You should assume he meant what he said. Your starting assumption should be that Matt Reeves said what he meant and he meant what he said. That should be your assumption. However, hold on to that possibility in the back of our heads that maybe he meant something other than what he said. So let's just hold on to that as a possibility. It's possible. All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Joel Shortt, who writes, "Hey, John, love your channel." Thank you so much, Joel. My question is, are you disappointed that Bad Boys 3 probably won't happen? Also, what are your thoughts on the first Bad Boys movies? Well, I'm like everybody else. I mean, I like the Bad Boys films. I get a big kick out of them. Are they the all-time great movies? No, they're not the all-time great movies. But when it comes to buddy cop movies, I should say, they're pretty damn good. As buddy cop movies go, they're pretty classic. I like the Bad Boy movies. Now, for those of you who don't know what Joel's talking about, because we've known for a while, like Will Smith has been talking for years about we're making Bad Boys 3, and then Joe Carnahan was on board to write and direct Bad Boys 3, and then Joe Carnahan left it, but they're still saying we're doing Bad Boys 3. What Joel is talking about is a day or two ago, maybe 3 days ago, Martin Lawrence, one half of the Bad Boys, was being interviewed. And Martin Lawrence said he doubts the movie's happening now. He said just the way things are now, it doesn't look like the movie's going to be happening. Now, could he be wrong? Sure, he could be wrong. But, he pointed out Will Smith's schedule's gotten really completely out of hand. The studio hasn't made any movement on replacing the writer or the director. Nobody's talked to him about anything. So Martin Lawrence is saying it looks like the movie's not happening. And I'm okay with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was very curious about seeing a new Bad Boys film. I know my friend Josh McCouga was insanely interested in a new Bad Boys film. But according to Martin Lawrence, it doesn't look like it's happening. But maybe Martin Lawrence meant something other than what he said. But no, he said pretty clearly, it doesn't look like the movie's happening. So until we hear some other big announcement about it, I think it's safe as fans to assume that Bad Boys 3 is now off the table. It doesn't look like it's happening until we hear something else. All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question comes to us from Gremersdorf, who writes, do you think we will see Jared Leto, as Joker again? I don't think so. Many people don't like the Leto Joker and don't like Suicide Squad. With the new Scorsese-Joker-Film, there is maybe no need for the Leto Joker. Or even the new Joker, even if the new Joker is not a part of the DCEU. Thanks a lot for the question, man. I disagree. And here, yes, Jared Leto is going to be a part of the DCEU. We will see Jared Leto as the Joker again. I believe anything can happen, but I believe he will. As a matter of fact, these new reports that are coming out about a Jared Leto Joker or about a new Joker Harley Quinn movie specifically say Margot Robbie and Jared Leto will be reprising their roles. But here's the other thing. I think the reason, and I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth. I'm just saying this is a thought in the back of my head. What movie fans often do, I do it, you probably do it, but what we as movie fans do sometimes is if we see a movie that's bad, well then we just kind of associate, well then anybody who was in the movie was bad. And if a movie was good, even if there was a weak performance in it, we just think everybody in the movie was good. And we just make those automatic leaps. I think a lot of people didn't like Suicide Squad, yes. But I think if they did like Suicide Squad, they would have appreciated Jared Leto's Joker more. I think Jared Leto's Joker got ruined for a lot of people because the movie wasn't that great. I liked Suicide Squad. I mean, the movie's a hot mess, but I had fun with it. I thought there was enough fun in the movie that made up for it for me. So, and I thought Jared Leto was quite good. Look, it's an impossible task to do a Joker character, but make him different from Heath Ledger's and make him different from Jack's and make him different from the cartoon one, make a unique Joker that is still at its core the Joker. And I thought they did a great job. So yes, we are going to get Jared Leto back, and I'm glad we're getting him back. I know some people aren't, but I think if they put him in a decent movie, I think people will really appreciate the Joker that he is. And some of you won't, and that's cool. That's the most beautiful thing about movies, is the pure subjectivity of it. Just because I like it doesn't mean you need to like it. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you don't need to like it. And that's the great thing about movies, and we can all still be friends. That's the awesome part about being a film fan. So yes, as according to the announcement, or at least according to the reports, Jared Leto is coming back, and having a standalone Joker movie does not replace the need for having a Joker in the DCEU. You can't have a DCEU without a Joker in it. You gotta have a Joker in a DCEU. That's just my thought anyway. All right, let's move on to the next question now. And the next question comes to us from Derrek Corry, who writes, "Hey John, love the show." Thanks so much, Derek. My question is, recently the soundtrack to the Justice League film was leaked. There was a track by Imagine Dragons entitled Unite the Seven. Who do you think will be the surprise seventh hero to now supposedly show up in Justice League? For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, their soundtrack did leak, and there was a bunch of titles for the soundtrack. But anyway, thanks, John, and keep up the amazing work. Well, thanks a lot for the question, Derek. Yeah, so there's a track on the soundtrack for Justice League called Unite the Seven. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody because, like, over a year ago, when that Jason Momoa poster came out with him as Aquaman, it said on it, unite the seven. So this isn't anything new. This is not something brand new. Unite the seven. Well, who are the seven? Now, at first, I didn't think the Unite the Seven was a reference to heroes. I thought Unite the Seven was a play on the seven seas. And it was Aquaman, Unite the Seven. I didn't think he was talking about the seven weren't Justice League members. I thought the seven was the seven seas. And we haven't seen a poster with Unite the Seven on a Wonder Woman poster. We haven't seen Unite the Seven on a Batman poster, unless there was, and I'm forgetting about it. If there was, please correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Absolutely, I could be wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe the whole Unite the Seven has only been on the Aquaman poster, I think. And if you think it's been on something else, please send me a link to something else to show that it's on something else. But I believe it's only on Aquaman. I still think Unite the Seven is an Aquaman-specific reference to him uniting the oceans, uniting the inhabitants of the oceans. That's what I think. But let's play with the notion that maybe it's talking about a secret seventh member of the Justice League. Because right now, what we've seen on the posters, we got Batman, we got Superman, we got the Flash, we got Wonder Woman, we got Aquaman, we got Cyborg. That's 6. If Unite the Seven is not an Aquaman-specific reference to the oceans, who is the 7th hero? My money would be on Green Lantern. Because, Henry Cavill has done a lot of teasing of Green Lantern on his social media and stuff. Although, if it is Green Lantern, and Warner Brothers has been able to keep that Green Lantern is in the movie under wraps, and keep the casting of Green Lantern under wraps and keep it secret, bravo to their security. Bravo, because that's almost impossible in today's day and age to keep it secret that a character like Green Lantern's in the movie and nobody knows about it. Or that a big actor has been cast as Green Lantern and nobody knows about it. It would be insanely improbable, but it's possible. And if that's the case, that they've done that, that's pretty damn impressive, man. That is pretty damn impressive. So I still think it's a reference to the seas, but it could very well be another character. If it is, I don't believe it's Martian Manhunter, although it could be. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Martian Manhunter. I'll be honest. But anyway, I know a lot of you guys are, and that's awesome. I don't think it's Hawkman. I think it's probably Green Lantern, if that's what he's talking about. All right. And we move on to the final email question of the day, and then we'll go over to the live chat board. You guys can start putting in questions if you like on the chat board. And the final email question today comes to us from Victor Gonzalez, who writes, "Hey, John, longtime fan here since the AMC days. Thank you so much, Victor. My question is, if Joss Whedon ends up getting credit for directing Justice League, do you think Warner Brothers would put from the director of Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron on the promos?" Thanks a lot for the question, Victor. Let me go on a bit of a side issue here, just because I know I've mentioned this before, but it's so important that I want to make sure everybody understands this. In the issue, because you're asking if Joss Whedon gets director's credit, in the issue of who gets director's credit on Justice League, okay? Warner Brothers does not decide that. Warner Brothers does not get to decide who gets directing credit. Warner Brothers can decide to hire a director. They can decide to fire a director. They can decide to bring in 5 directors. They can decide to fire 3 of them and bring in 7 more. Warner Brothers can do that. But as far as who gets the credit for directing, Warner Brothers does not get to make that decision. The power for that decision lies exclusively with the Directors Guild of America. The Directors Guild of America has complete autonomous power to declare who gets credit for directing that movie. And so they're going through something like that right now with Star Wars, the Han Solo Star Wars film. Like, does Lord Miller get credit? Does Ron Howard get credit? But that's up to the Directors Guild of America to decide. So what'll happen is the Directors Guild of America will sit back, they'll look at the film, they'll research and investigate and find out how much of this film was directed by so-and-so, how much film was directed by so-and-so, what was the tone and feel and direction of the film when it was being directed by person number 1, what did the end tone and feel of the film end up being after it went under the direction of director number 2. They'll ask all those questions. So, just important, make sure everybody understands this. Warner Brothers does not get to decide who the director of credit is. That's up to the Directors Guild of America. So now let's get on to your question. If, huge if Joss Whedon is ultimately declared a director or co-director of Justice League by the Directors Guild of America, would Warner Brothers put on their marketing from the director of Avengers and all that kind of stuff? Absolutely they will. Absolutely they will. Why? Whether you like Marvel movies or not, okay? Take whether you like Marvel movies or not out of the equation, okay? Let me ask you this question. What are the 2 most successful comic book films of all time? Take out whether you like them or not. What are the 2 most successful video game comic book movies of all time? They are, in order, Avengers, directed by Joss Whedon, and Avengers Age of Ultron, also directed by Joss Whedon. When you have the 2 most successful comic book movies of all time, and you can brag about that on the marketing of your new film, say, hey, directed by the director of Avengers, then you do that. You absolutely do that. Now, again, I don't think Joss Whedon is going to get directing credit on it. I mean, the reshoots have been very extensive, and they're still going on to this day. But I still think Zack Snyder's going to get directing credit. But if he does not, and they give it to Joss Whedon, I think Warner Brothers definitely will put from the director of Avengers on their marketing. I think they absolutely will. I think it would be silly for them not to. Okay, guys, I said I was going to save some time to take some of your live questions. This is going to be awkward because the chat board, there's like almost 1,500 people in the chat board. So the chat board's doing this. So give me a second as there's going to be awkward silent pauses as I look at the questions. Okay. Let's see. Mad Hawk Dorga writes, Marvel is formulaic, baby. No, it's not. You know what? Marvel is formulaic is a toothless battle cry from people who just hate Marvel. When you look at the Marvel films, they have diversified so much. And it's okay if you don't like them. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with them that you should like them. It's fine that you don't. But to call them formulaic is abject nonsense. Because when you look at, because their films have diversified so much. Like if you think Ant-Man was anything like Doctor Strange, if you think Captain America the Winter Soldier was anything like the first Iron Man, if you think Civil War was anything like the first Thor movie, then you're crazy. They're very different films. Marvel has expanded into massive amounts of subgenres, from heist films to political thrillers. To the twisty and trippy they've done a lot. And the moment you can say this movie is not anything like that movie, then you cannot say that they are formulaic, or else every single one of their movies would be the same. And like I said, I think you're absolutely insane if you think they are. It's cool if you don't like them. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you about that, whether you like them or not. That's the wonderful thing about movies. We can like and dislike different things and still be friends. That's awesome. But to call them formulaic is weak. And it's an accusation that has no teeth. All the evidence proves otherwise. Now, again, that does not automatically mean they're good. To you, maybe that means they're bad, and that's fine. Again, totally fine. I'm not knocking your taste in movies. That's cool. Your tastes in movies are every bit as valid as my taste in movies. Nothing wrong with that. But don't accuse it of being formulaic, because clearly they have diversified those movies an awful lot, so they are not formulaic. Let's see. Abdullah Dai writes, hey, John, do you think Jake Gyllenhaal will make a great Joker? Look, I think any good actor would make a good Joker. Jake Gyllenhaal just happens to be a terrific world-class actor. So yes, I think Jake Gyllenhaal would make a very good Joker. Elias Prime is writing, Wolverine in the MCU? God, I hope not. God, I hope not. Look, I love the MCU, but the MCU would never have made Logan. They would never have made, Marvel and Disney would never have made Logan. And Logan is the best movie of the year. It's not just the best comic book movie of the year. Logan is the best movie of the year. And Marvel never would have made that movie. They never would have made that hard edge R-rated thing. So God, I want Wolverine to stay exactly where he is. Because while Fox has dropped the ball a couple of times, absolutely, Fantastic Four, anybody? Fox has also made some world-class top 10 best comic book movies of all time. Like, they made X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men First Class. They made Logan. They made Deadpool. Fox is doing pretty good. They're not batting 100 or 1,000, I should say, but they're doing pretty good. And I like things to stay where they are. Let's see. P. Chambers is writing, will they make a Masters of the Universe film anytime soon? It's looking less and less likely, man. I mean, like, I remember a few years ago, John Chin, I'm forgetting his last name, is the director of G.I. Joe Retaliation. John M. Chu, that's his name. John M. Chu, who is the director of G.I. Joe Retaliation and some Justin Bieber documentaries. He was attached to direct a He-Man and Masters of the Universe film, and it fell apart. And then there was concept art of Battle Cat. Remember that? Battle Cat. Look, the concept art of Battle Cat came out. I don't know, man. I think it's like looking less and less likely that we're going to get a Masters of the Universe film. It's really unfortunate. Andrew Thomas, any tips on how to get paid by DC to be a fanboy? Yeah, well, as everybody knows, I am paid by Warner Brothers, and I am also paid by Marvel and Disney. I'm on both of their payrolls to talk great stuff about their movies and to talk shit about each other's movies. How do you become one of those people on their payroll? I don't know. I just lucked into it. Good question, though. Let's see. Jack Bauer's writing, hey, John, do you think there will be more of an emphasis on the Knights of Ren or the Praetorian Guards in The Last Jedi? I do think we'll get a little bit more emphasis than the Knights of Ren. I don't think the movie is going to be about the Knights of Ren, but I do think we're going to get a little bit more backstory and a little bit more history into them when the movie finally comes out. Okay. Dickie Petrez writes, have you heard anything about the Memento remake? I heard whispers about a Memento remake. I don't know why you remake Memento. The movie's not that old. And it's great, and people love it. For those of you who have not seen Memento, that's the movie that put Christopher Nolan on the map, was Memento. And it's freaking brilliant. Guy Pearce stars in it, and it's a brilliant movie, man. Absolutely brilliant. A lot of people to this day, more than The Dark Knight, there's a lot of people out there who think Memento is still Christopher Nolan's best film. I think Christopher Nolan's best film is Insomnia, that he did with Al Pacino and Robin Williams and Hilary Swank. I think that's a tragically underrated film. That movie's so good. But Memento, if you haven't seen Memento, make sure you check that out. JB is writing, the problem is Jake Gyllenhaal has no box office proof yet. Guess what? There is no such thing as a bankable movie star anymore. It's all about the movie. A movie star can give credibility to a movie, but it doesn't mean it's going to be huge. Lots of huge name stars are in movies that bomb. Okay? Does that mean, oh, people won't go to see their movies? No, it just means they won't go see their movies if they're in that movie. There's no movie star anymore. The guy who comes closest is The Rock, but even The Rock isn't that anymore after the Baywatch debacle. There's no movie star that if you put this star in it, it'll make $500 million. There's no such thing anymore. None. So all you can do is come up with a great movie and put in high talent, put in high caliber talent. And Jake Gyllenhaal is high caliber talent. And yeah, I mean, like, let's look at Jake Gyllenhaal's movie like Nocturnal Animals, right? Was that huge at the box office? No. So who's a big box office star? You think if The Rock was in that same movie, it would have made any more money? It wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. I mean, The Rock was just in Baywatch, and that movie sucked and it bombed. So there's no such thing as bankable box office guys anymore. All that's left now is talent. Does an actor have the talent to carry a movie? That's really the only question we should be asking. Let's see. Man Bat is the next Batman film? No, I don't think so. Let's see. Daniel Day-Lewis is awesome. Amin, I can't pronounce your last name, Amin. Sorry about that. But hey, John, any plans on coming to the Toronto Fan Expo next week? If you live in Canada, go to the Fan Expo. It's great. I've thought, okay, I'll be honest with you. I was planning on going to Toronto to go to the Fan Expo this year. I was going to arrange a John Campea fan meet and greet, maybe somewhere there in downtown Toronto. I was going to do all that, but something came up. Here's what came up. I'll tell you straight up, okay? A little bit of inside information here into the life of John Campea, the wild adventure that is the life of John Campea. My wife, Anne, you might know her as like one of the most beautiful creatures on the planet. She's amazing. Anne is so far outside of my league. It's actually kind of stifling. She is so outside of my league. Actually, let me pull this up because not only is she like really beautiful, and she's obviously really beautiful, but she's super intelligent. She's super smart. She has this incredible gig. I mean, she is like, let me just bring up a picture over here to show you guys. Here we go. There's my Anne. Anyway, she's incredibly beautiful. She's incredibly smart. She's like a 1 in a million find and so outside of my league. She's into cosplay. She's into MMA. She likes playing Magic the Gathering. She loves comic book movies. She loves Star Wars. She's an executive at Hasbro. She's super smart and intelligent and ambitious and all that kind of crap. So outside my league. Anyway, why did I bring all that up? Okay, so talking about the Toronto Fan Expo. The Toronto Fan Expo is, I wanted to go to it, but here's the problem. For work, Hasbro is flying Anne out to Hong Kong for 2 months. Anne is leaving me for 2 months. And next week is Anne's last week in town before she leaves for Hong Kong again for 2 months. I'm going to be bacheloring it up for 2 months. I don't do well when Anne has gone out of town for more than 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to be like in a white tank top and my underwear on my recliner with empty pizza boxes around me and some flies flying around my head. I'm going to be a mess. But anyway, since next week is Anne's final week in town before she leaves for Hong Kong, I decided it would probably be a good idea not to go to Toronto and that I should be home and spend time with her before she goes. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Let's see. Where is it? Juice City is writing. Where does it go? There it is. After watching The Defenders, I thought it was weird that The Hand never heard of Luke Cage or the Judas Bullet. Do you think that Cage's show used that too soon in its story? No, because you needed something. You needed something in Luke Cage that could possibly pose a physical threat. Otherwise, the story of Luke Cage is just Luke Cage walking into any building he wants to and taking out the bad guy whenever he wants. So you have to have something that can be a physical threat to Luke Cage. So you had to have that in the first Luke Cage movie. You had to. It is kind of weird that The Hand hadn't heard of him in The Defenders. That is kind of a little bit weird. But anyway, so let's see. Matt Haley is writing. Where'd Matt Haley go? There he is. Will Disney ever delve into any prequel content? I hope not. No, I don't think they will. I mean, unless you count Old Republic as prequel, which you shouldn't. Prequel isn't just something that happens in a time frame before. It's also means it's connected directly to the events of. And if they go into Old Republic, then I don't count that as prequel. And I do think they will go into Old Republic. Matt Guillemette, sorry man, I'm mispronouncing your last name. Over or under 50% that Hugh Jackman cameos in Deadpool 2. I'm going to take the over on that. I believe Hugh Jackman will cameo, and not just a picture. There will definitely be pictures of Hugh Jackman. But I believe that Hugh Jackman will cameo in Deadpool. And you know what? I'll go one step further. I believe Patrick Stewart's going to cameo in Deadpool as well. Mind blown. But I think Patrick Stewart will also cameo in that one as well. Let's see. Last question of the day. There's just too many. I can't do the last question of the day. That was it. That was the last question of the day. Anyway, that'll do it for me, guys. Thanks for joining me today. Hey, listen, one more time. Let me plug it just one last time. If you watch my videos all the time, considering become one of my supporters on Patreon. I do this full time now, making videos for you guys. If you can become one of my supporters, that would be awesome. Just go to patreon.com/JohnCampea to get more information. While you guys are here, take a second. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, take a moment right now. Click subscribe. Become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Make sure you follow me on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter, just at John Campea. That'll do it for me, guys, for this installment. Hey, guys, thanks for, I should probably still do it live at least once a week. This has been fun. I mean, like I said, I think the show turns out better when I pre-record it, but this has been fun. So maybe I should do this like once a week. Do me a favor, leave a comment if you think I should just go all pre-recorded, if you think I should continue to do it live at least maybe once or twice a week. Let me know what you guys like, because I am here to serve you. Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, that'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until next time, bye-bye.